if someone you love has passed away and you want to connect with them in the afterlife, there's something that you have to understand first. And I want to tell you a story about this because I think that this illustrates the point perfectly. And it's an experience that I went through. It's something that I went through in my journey, and I think a lot of you guys will appreciate this. So early on in my journey, when I was going around and I was learning how to do this and trying to figure things out, and nothing was working for me, I found a couple things that was kind of getting me into the zone, right? And getting me to a place where I could actually connect with the spirit world. And I remember it was one holiday weekend. I forget what the holiday was, but I was at a family get together, and my brother's girlfriend came up to me and she's like, I have a spirit in the house, in your brother's house. There's a spirit in your brother's house, and I know it, but he thinks I'm crazy. He will not believe me, but here's a couple things that have been going on. And she went on to tell me that, there's been a couple times where she's gone into the kitchen, cleaned the kitchen up, shut everything, put everything away, and came back in and all the cabinet doors were cracked open. And she said this happened like 3 or 4 times and there was no explanation for it. And, so she said that they were also playing with the lights, that the lights would flicker and go on and off, the usual stuff the spirits would do. And she said she could just really sense this presence in the house in addition to that. And my brother didn't really believe it. And so while she's talking and telling me the story, he comes over because he knows what I'm doing, right? He knows some of the stuff that I'm into at this point. And he's like, yeah, you're out here trying to communicate with spirits. Why don't you connect with the spirit that's at my house and tell me what he wants or she wants? And he was totally joking. He didn't believe in any of this. He didn't believe in me or anything. And so in that moment, I was just like, sure, why not? Right? And I jumped right into it. And so I started to feel into the energy over at his house, and I immediately connected with this male spirit. And as soon as I did that, I was like, oh shit, I was scared. I was like, I've got to get this right. If I give this information, I'm on the spot. I almost feel like I'm having to prove myself here. I feel like I'm having to prove myself to my brother. And so I was super stressed out. But in that moment, like I had this flash of thought come to me. And it was like, this is my brother. You see me do some really stupid shit. I don't care how I look to him. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And then I came back to the spirit. Okay. And I started connecting with it. I got this whole backstory. I found out that this spirit it was a male who was in the Navy. He was the owner of my brother's house, 3 or 4 owners prior to him. And that he had painted this picture of himself standing on a boat. And he had it in the attic. But he's telling me when my brother remodeled the house, he moved the picture and he wants the picture back. He wants my brother to go put it in the Gulf of Mexico, right? I'm here in Florida, in Tampa, Florida, very close to the Gulf of Mexico. And so he said, that's what the spirit told me. And I'm giving this to my brother, right? And I feel like I'm making it up the whole time, but I didn't really care because this is my brother, right? I felt like all of this was just coming through my head, was just coming through my mind, and nothing was really real, but I was still just giving it and I was trusting, okay? Because here's the thing, I didn't really care how stupid I looked in front of him, okay? And believe me, I felt very stupid. So here's the thing. So after I told him this information, he's like, there's no way. I never found any kind of picture. And the spirit, I could hear the spirit at that point. This part was really strong. I could hear the spirit telling me, no, it's there. No, you have it. And I relayed this over to my brother and he's like, okay, well, where is it? And I paused for a minute and then all of a sudden I just had this feeling, right? I felt like the spirit was communicating to me. And again, I felt like I was making it up when I was giving this information, but I said, it's in this shed, behind this box, it was with great detail, this spirit, or I thought this spirit was giving me this information. And so my brother said, that's impossible. I just cleaned out my shed. There's nothing in there. There's nothing in that spot that the spirit is, supposedly talking about. And I felt crushed in that moment. I felt like, all right, whatever. I made all this up. At least I gave it a try. At least I'm trying to do this. Okay. So here's what happened. It was 2 or 3 days later. the same stuff started to go on in my brother's house. My girlfriend was there, except she closed the cabinet doors, walked out, did some laundry, came back, the cabinet doors were open in the kitchen. She closed them again, was like, all right, maybe this is a fluke. She went into the bedroom, started to put stuff away. She came back out, all the drawers were open, all the cabinet doors were open. She did this 3 or 4 times and they kept opening. And so she got really pissed and she starts slamming everything, saying, get out of here. What are you doing? This is our house. Go away. And she started to hear the dresser drawers in the bedroom open and close. And she went in there and they were all cracked open. And so she was like, fuck this. She called my brother. She said, you come home from work and you find that painting your brother was talking about. And so like a good boyfriend, he did. He came right home. He went into the shed exactly where the spirit was, found the exact picture, exactly how the spirit had described, exactly where the spirit said it was going to be. And that was the first time that I ever had this external confirmation that I was reading and it was correct, the information the spirit was giving me. So here's the thing. Here's the moral of the story. I literally felt like I was making it up that entire time. I had no idea if the information was right. I had no idea if the information was wrong. I was just giving what I was feeling, right? There was no audible whisper in my ear from the spirit. There was no physical manifestation. The spirit wasn't standing in front of me. I didn't see it. I saw an image of him, but it was in my mind's eye. And so, the point of what I'm trying to make here is that even if you feel like you're making it up, push through the experience. When you're connecting with your loved one and you feel like maybe this is wishful thinking, or maybe this is just what I'm wanting because I really miss and I'm grieving, push through that feeling. Worry about that judgment after the experience. Don't worry about while you're having that experience, okay? You're gonna dilute it. You're gonna get yourself out of it. You could be experiencing something amazing in that moment, or you might get some validation afterwards, and then everything made sense and all of the feelings. So don't get discouraged if you feel like you're making it up. You need to push through it, because on the other side of that feeling is an undeniable experience with your loved one from the afterlife. And so I hope that this is something that everybody can take with them and understand that, it's just part of it. I don't care who you are. I don't care how famous of a medium you are, or how amazing or wonderful you are. This goes for the famous ones that are on TV, that have books, all of this stuff. I don't care. They all feel like they're making it up, but they're comfortable with it because they know that that's how it feels. Okay. So, how many of you want me to go through like a step-by-step on how to connect with your loved one? Let me know in the comments. Like the live. Let's see, we got 4,000 likes. If we can get to 10,000 likes, share the live. Let me know in the comments if you want me. I'll go through like a step-by-step. This is where you begin. This is what you do next. This is what happens next. This is where you go next. Right into that back and forth conversation with your loved one. So if that's something you're interested in, I will do that on the live here today, because everybody, I feel, should have this information. This is something that we can all do. Spirit communication is something that anyone can do. All right, you are a spirit. Why wouldn't you be able to communicate with other spirits? And it's not something that takes a long time to develop. It's not anything that's difficult or hard. It's just different. It's just as easy as communicating, you and I, like any other conversation. It is just as easy as any other conversation, but it looks different, and that is all. Okay? Can I make Marilyn Monroe my spirit guide? No, you can't. Your spirit guides usually are not spirits that have incarnated anytime soon. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for all the likes and the shares. Let's get up to 10,000 and I'll do it. Looks like we got 64 people in here. We're close. It'll take me a few minutes to go through it. So just make sure that you're kind of listening to the live on the background. You can set your phone down and just kind of listen to it if you can't watch. Yeah, I'm still in Tampa. I live in Tampa. Okay. All right. If someone you love has passed away and you want to connect with them in the afterlife, this is going to be a step-by-step on exactly how to do that. I'm going to bring you from the first step all the way to the back and forth conversation that you're looking to have with your loved one. All right. So the first thing that we have to do when we're connecting with our loved one is we just have to get ourselves feeling as best as we can, right? If you're struggling, if it's a bad day, if there's a lot of grief that day, just kind of hold off, okay? And I know that that's hard because we have that expectation, and when we're grieving so deep, we feel like we just want to connect with them immediately and that we need it. And so in those moments when you're feeling that way, just allow the grief to surface. Allow the grief to express itself. Kick, scream, cry, punch, whatever you need to do to get the grief out of your body, to get it moving, go ahead and do that. Once you get through that wave of grief, then you can pick up and try this, okay? And so you have to get yourself the best you can feel. All right. And if you're grieving and it's a recent loss, just get yourself the best you can feel. All right. The better you feel, the easier and the stronger the connection is you're going to make. All right. Now, if you can get yourself into high energy, like you can kind of tell how I am, like I'm speaking and I'm projecting my voice and, I'm not talking down to you like this, right? I'm up, my energy is up and I'm communicating and I'm holding my energy high. If you can do that, that will make a difference. But again, if you are grieving, and you are feeling, pretty bad, you can still do this. I want to make sure that I let everybody know that you can still do this. Okay. Now, after you get feeling as good as you possibly can, the next thing that you want to do is focus on your energy. All right. And that's very easy to do. All you do is focus on your body, right? Just focus on your body, bring an awareness to your body and notice how it feels, right? Notice if there's any tense places. Notice if there's any places that feel loose. Notice if there's any tingling. Whatever it is, just notice what you're feeling in your body. Your body is like a tuning fork and it responds to your energy. Those sensations that come up in your body they're happening all the time. And when you focus on it, you start to feel it and you start to feel your energy, okay? So just focus on your body, notice those sensations, sit there and feel it, sit there and stay with it, okay? Just feeling your energy for a few minutes. And as you get comfortable and as you get used to what your energy feels like, you want to slowly expand your focus, slowly bring your focus outside of your body, right? Because you're focusing on your body and then you're going to expand just about maybe a foot around your entire body, okay? And you're going to sit there and you're just going to feel that energy for a minute. Again, no expectations of anything happening. Just sit there and feel a foot around your body. And then go ahead and expand that 3 feet in all directions, 4 feet in all directions, 6 feet in all directions, until you get to 10 feet in all directions. Sitting there, focusing and feeling the energy that's surrounding you, okay? The same way that you focused on your energy. You're going to just feel your body. And your energy in your body, your personal energy, is going to feel different than the energy outside of your body that surrounds you that you're focusing on. And so you just want to bring an awareness to what that feels like. Once you've expanded out 10 feet in all directions, okay? So once you've expanded out 10 feet in all directions, you're gonna wanna just feel the difference. What does it feel like to be in this energy? What does my energy feel like? What does it feel like to be in this energy? What does my energy feel like? Kind of oscillate back and forth between the two. And once you kind of get a sense for how it feels different, okay, and how the energy changes, the next thing that you want to do is you want to ask your loved one to step inside your awareness. And all that means is step inside the area that you're focusing on, okay? That's it. And so you're focusing on 10 feet in all directions around your body. You're going to ask your loved one to step inside of that. And when you do, you're going to feel something change immediately, because when you ask them to come, boom, they're right there. It doesn't take this long drawn out time. They don't have to come from some far away place. The afterlife is not a physical place that's far and out of reach for us. The afterlife is a energetic plane, is an energetic place. And so time and space is irrelevant there. So as soon as you ask them to come, boom, they're there. And you will feel that shift in energy. You may not sense them, you may not see them, you may not feel them, you may not even be aware that they're there, but you will feel, at minimum, you will feel a change in the energy that you're focusing on, all right? Now, from there, you're gonna want to find where that change in energy came from. It's gonna be somewhere in that 10-foot circle of awareness that you're focusing on the energy around you. And so you want to find where that shift in energy was. That shift is your loved one. And so as you find where that's coming from, you're going to feel it. You're going to start to feel their presence, right? Their presence, their personality, what they felt like when they were here with you. All right. You know how you kind of can just sit there on the couch with somebody or lay in bed with somebody and you can just feel their presence. Even if they get up and they go to the other room, you feel their presence. You know they're there. They're present with you. That's what you'll feel. You'll feel their personality. You'll feel their presence there. All right. And so once you identify where within your awareness, where within the energy that you're focusing on, your loved one's energy is emanating from, once you're aware of that, then I want you to look to the floor. The next step is you're going to look to the floor where the bottom of their energy is touching the floor. Okay? And I want you to just be aware of that. Notice what's there. Notice what's coming up. Notice how they come. Are they wearing shoes? Now, this is all going to happen in your mind's eye. When you see your loved one, and you may not see your loved one, okay? But if you do, you're going to start to get imagery in your head, okay? Their energy is painting an image in your mind's eye, okay? So look to the floor, look where their energy is beginning, okay? And start to notice if they're wearing shoes, if they're barefoot, if they're wearing shoes, what kind of shoes. And then just slowly scan up your loved one until you have the whole image of them, okay? Really, really important that you take it little by little. Now, when you feel that shift in energy, there is a possibility, bam, you're gonna see them and they're gonna be there. And it's gonna be the same way that you see a memory. Okay, except it's not you thinking the memory, it's not you conjuring up the image. What it is your loved one's energy painting that image in your mind's eye. Okay? So you could see them right away. You may need to go through it like I just did in order to see them, or you may not see them at all. You may just feel them. You may just feel their emotion. You may just feel their love for you. Right? You may feel their touch, their hug, their embrace, their kiss. Okay? Don't get discouraged if you cannot see your loved one. That is only one of our spiritual abilities. We have 7. Seeing, hearing, feeling, empathy, knowing, smell, and taste. And you only need to be aware of one of those abilities to have a mind-blowing experience with your loved one. Just don't come in with the expectation, I'm going to see my loved one, because you might not, all right? So they come in, you can see them, great, amazing, awesome. They come in and you're not able to see them, just feel their energy. Slowly work yourself up, slowly scan up their body, up their energy until you have a clear image of them. You're not seeing them, okay? You're not seeing them is the other possibility. Okay, fine. Feel the energy. Feel the energy. Where's their presence coming from? What are you feeling? What are you becoming aware of? You don't need to see it. Sometimes, a lot of times it'll become a knowing. I just know that they're standing right there. I just know that their hand is reaching out. I just know that they're coming, that they're here in their 40s because that's their prime. I just know that they're saying this thing to me right now, right? Sometimes you'll just have this gut feeling and it's a knowing and you're not seeing them at all. That's okay. Sometimes you'll just feel their energy. You're not getting any kind of knowing. All you're doing is feeling. Here's the thing. If you're able to feel their energy, that's their energy interacting with your energy. And in that interaction, there is a transfer of a tremendous amount of information, okay? They're communicating with you. And if you can just sit there feeling their energy long enough without expecting to hear anything, without expecting to get a message, without expecting them to say anything, just sit there and feel their energy, you're gonna start to pick up on things. You're gonna see, hear, feel, or know it. Okay? And you're gonna start to come and pick up on things, but just get comfortable focusing on their energy, okay? Once you feel their energy, once that image is there, once you're aware that they're there, okay? The next thing that you're gonna wanna do is ask like an icebreaker question, right? We want the conversation to unfold naturally. So once you become aware of their energy and you seeing, hearing, feeling, knowing, whatever sense you're picking up on them with, all right, you want to just in your mind, okay, or out loud, it doesn't really matter, ask them a question. One of the things that I think is a go-to for people is, have you been trying to reach out to me? All right. And from there, they're going to respond. And again, you may not hear anything. It may sound like a thought. That thought is their energy projecting. You're receiving a thought. You're not thinking the thought. Okay. So if you get that thought that's an answer back to your question, all right, and it can be any question. It doesn't have to be, have you been trying to get a hold of me? It can be any question. Okay. And when you get an answer back, you're going to receive it. You're either going to receive it as a thought, you know, or you're just going to feel it as this gut feeling, this knowing. I just know that they told me yes, and they were at my birthday party. Okay. So just be aware of how they're communicating in that moment. All right. And if you're not getting anything back, just sit there feeling in their energy. And then stop asking questions. What you want to do is just talk to them. Talk to the energy you're feeling. Tell them about your day. Tell them about how things are going. Talk to them about the things you used to talk about when they were here with you. Just keep talking to them until something changes. As long as you keep doing that and don't give up prematurely, you're going to get a response. It's going to be undeniable and you will not be able to mess it up. Okay, just stay there holding that energy, feeling their energy, talking to them, all right? Now, the next thing is once you get an answer from your loved one, you know, once you have this, once they answer your question or once they respond to you, respond back to them. So many people are like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is so cool. They, responded back to me and then they come out of it. You don't have to. You can have a complete conversation with your loved one in the same way that you had a complete conversation with them here in the physical. But it just looks different. It looks like this internal process like we were talking about. Okay, so when they answer you, talk back to them, respond back to them, let them reply to that response, and then you reply to that, and then they're going to say something back. And now you know this conversation's unfolding in a very natural way. Okay? And so that's it. You're into this back and forth conversation with your loved one. Stay there for as long as you'd like. Communicate with them until you're satisfied with the interaction. And then the last thing that I ask you to do, the last thing that I feel is so important, is to ask them to provide evidence to you that this was a legitimate connection. You're going to know anyway, right? You're going to feel it. It's going to be undeniable when you're communicating with them. You're going to know, but this is a really cool thing that the spirit world will do for you. You ask them for that undeniable evidence and then you let go. You don't ask for anything specific. You don't tell them to flicker the lights. You don't tell them to manifest a butterfly right now, right? You don't tell them that, look for a dime. You don't want to do any of that. Don't be specific. Just ask them to provide you with evidence that this connection took place. And then let go. Say goodbye. Tell them that you'll connect with them again whenever you want or whatever needs to go. But just let go of the experience and then go on about your day. Okay? And you will get evidence in a way that is undeniable. Something will happen. There's many different things that can happen. I don't want to say any one specific thing because I don't want you guys to limit your thinking because it can happen any way. And it's going to come in a way that you don't have to pay attention. It's going to come in a way that's just going to slap you right in the face. You will not miss it. It's going to come in a way if you're thinking, did I miss it? Was it this thing? It's not going to be that thing. It's going to come in a way that is just undeniable. All right. And so that's it. That's how we connect with our loved ones. That's how you go from step one all the way into the conversation. So I guess I'll take some questions now. If anybody has any questions, let me know in the comments. When we communicate with our loved one in spirit, do we need to speak out loud or in our mind? It really doesn't matter, because words aren't what actually communicates. It's the intention of the words that we want to say. Okay, it's the vibration and the energy of the words that we're intending to communicate that actually does the communicating. And so you can have an intention by speaking the word, and you can also have an intention by thinking the word. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you want to communicate with your loved one out loud or in thought. You can do it either way. It just all boils down to, what are you more comfortable with? Well, here's another good question. Okay, so when connecting with our loved ones, do we need to be in a dark room or have our eyes closed? No, you can do it right now. As a matter of fact, I suggest you do it with your eyes open and like I am standing here in front of you, and just go right into it. Right? I know that I laid this process out here on step 1, step 2, step 3, and how to go through it. Once you've done that a couple of times, you don't have to go through any kind of process. You don't have to have your eyes closed when you're doing this. You can just go right into it. You will say, hey, loved one, come here. Boom, you'll feel their energy. Boom, you'll ask them a question. Boom, you'll be talking to them, and it'll just be this back and forth. You just have to get yourself used to what it feels like, and you have to allow yourself to move through the feeling of, I'm just making it up. This is wishful thinking. This is the response that I would want from them. You have to get yourself through those feelings, because on the other side of that is that undeniable connection and conversation with your loved one. And look, if this is something I get questions all the time. Here's another question. Do I do readings? Can you book a reading with me? No, I don't do readings. The only thing that I do is I help you connect with your loved one. The only way that I work with people is by helping you connect with your loved one directly. And I do that through my mentorship program. All right. It's where I basically hold your hand and I walk you right into that conversation with your loved one. And along that journey, we're going to identify any of your constraints. We're going to see what's holding you back. We're going to find out what the blocks are, and we're going to get through those. We're going to get through those, and fairly quickly, and we're going to go right into it. You're going to be able to go right into a conversation with your loved one, and I'll bring you there. And so that's the only way that you can work with me directly, because I feel like it's way more meaningful. Right? It's way more meaningful when you have the connection. And I would rather teach you to do it so you can go out and teach other people to do it, rather than just give you a reading. And I feel like I can have a way bigger impact and help people and be more of service by teaching rather than doing readings. I used to do readings, and it's amazing. It's wonderful. And I love to see the healing that comes through when people know beyond a shadow of a doubt that life is continuous. Okay. That there is life on the other side. But for me personally, that does not compare to the feeling that I get watching somebody connect with their loved one directly for the first time. Nothing compares to that feeling. When connecting with your loved one in spirit, if you're having a hard time telling the difference between your thoughts and imagination versus information that they're giving you or a conversation that you're having with your loved one, the way that you're going to tell the difference is by the way that you feel. You're just going to hold your awareness on your body as you're communicating with your loved one, right? And so when you get those words back, when you get the conversation back, when you get the download or whatever it is, are you hearing, seeing, feeling, or hearing, seeing, feeling, or experiencing the emotion from your loved one? And is that coming with information? The way that you tell that it's not your thoughts is by the way that you feel. Okay? When you receive it and it's legitimately from your loved one, you're gonna feel like this expansiveness, this opening up, like waves of energy is going to shoot through your body. Sometimes it can be very subtle, sometimes it can be very pronounced, and anything in between. There's a spectrum on the way that you feel. But here's the thing, when the information is flowing, you wanna just focus on your body and feel for that feeling. If you feel like this closing down and tightness, it's your thoughts, you're in your head. Okay, and so that's how you tell. What if I call on my loved one from the afterlife and they don't show up? What would be the reason for that? I have never experienced that. I've worked with tens of thousands of people. I've done hundreds of workshops. Everybody who's ever called on their loved one in that environment has always made a connection. I've never been in that situation. What happens a lot of times is that it is our perception of the spirit world that prevents us from connecting or perceiving our loved one. They are with us all the time. And there is a part of you that's with your loved one, right? Your energy is much larger than what's in your body. You know, there's so much more to you than the energy that resides in your body. You exist. Your energy is so vast and so large that there's a part of it that exists with your loved one in the spirit world right now. And so it's not a matter of them not showing up, or it's not a problem of them not showing up. It's just a matter of our perception to the spirit world and our beliefs around it, right? So a lot of times what I see in working with people is when they come in to work with me and they're saying, oh, I've never felt my loved one, I feel like they're not showing up for me, whatever it may be, what I find is that they absolutely have been showing up for you, that they absolutely have been there and they've been giving signs and they've been doing all these things, but we've gone and we've unrecognized them because there's this core belief, and it's always subconscious, there's this core belief that we can't do this, that you're not capable, that the thing that other people you see doing this, you're different than them, and that you can't do it. That's the core fundamental belief. And there's really a few things that are wrapped around that. Number one, there's this feeling that you're not good enough. Number two, there's this feeling like some other insecurity, right? I'm afraid of what people are gonna say. I'm afraid they're not gonna show up for me, right? There's that fear of rejection that's there. Okay, and so between those things, it's a matter of identifying what it is. And that's what I do most of the time. I help you identify what that core belief is and where it comes from. It's always from childhood. And then we take care of it, and then we can move on and we get into connecting with your loved one. It's not that they're not showing up for you. There is no reason that they wouldn't. You're already with them. There's a part of your energy that is already there in the spirit world. So yeah, if you want to do a reading, so how can I explain this? If you're doing a mediumship reading for somebody else, the process of connecting and the way that you do it when connecting with your own loved ones is going to be exactly the same. But here's the thing. When it comes to mediumship, when it comes to mediumship and getting a reading from a medium for your loved one to bring your loved one through, what you need to understand is that no one can connect with your loved one as good as you can. You're the one that has the energetic tie with them. nobody's going to be able to connect with them the way that you can connect with them. It's going to be powerful with you. Okay, so even when you go see a professional medium that has been doing this for years, that has great reviews and all this stuff, it's still not going to be accurate and as powerful as if you did it yourself. I've worked with many people who've seen mediums for 10, 20 years connecting with their loved ones, and in one experience with me, they're like, oh my goodness, I never knew it was so powerful to connect with my loved one directly. And really it is. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to witness. So yeah, but to answer the question, yes, the way that you would do a reading for somebody else is the exact same way that you would connect with your own loved one. So here's another one. This is another good question. So when connecting with your loved one in the afterlife, how do you make sure you're not bringing through an evil or bad spirit? Well, let's talk about it. Are your intentions to bring through something like that? Because if they're not, you're just going to bring your loved one. There's no accident, right? These spirits that we perceive as evil or bad, and again, they're totally misunderstood. I can talk more about that as well. But there's no evil or bad spirit that's just wandering around looking for people connecting with their loved ones and is like, oh, I want to go get them now. You can start to hear how ridiculous that sounds when we look at it from that perspective, right? There's no group of spirits that just want to get you. There's no opening yourself up. You are a part of the spirit world right now. There are spirits all around you right now in this moment, okay? And if you bring your awareness to the energy that's around you, you will start to pick up on them, okay? And so you've been fine. You've been okay this entire time. You've had these experiences with your loved ones before. Just slip around and you're okay. Not to mention that evil and dark spirits are grossly misunderstood. That type of energy is energy that is lost in its own unresolved pain. All right. These are spirits that all they're emanating is fear, anger, grief, sadness, depression. And that's all they've identified with, right? And I've worked with these spirits before, and I've come across them before, mostly because if I see them, I want to help them. And so whenever I interact with them, I want to get their story. I see them for who they truly are, not what they've become. And I want to interact with them. I talk about them. How did you get this way? What happened? And we have a conversation, right? If you had a depressed friend that was walking around moping, and you came over one day and you're like, oh my goodness, what's wrong with you? Sit down, let's talk. How did this happen? What's going on? Right? You're going to help them feel better. I do the same thing with the spirit world. And what I've noticed is whenever the evil energy, right, that people, start to talk about, or like the dark spirits or the demons or whatever they are, those are usually just angry spirits, and they can be pissed off for so many reasons. They could be pissed off because, they are not what they're, they could be pissed off because the way that they thought the afterlife was, maybe they had some religious conditioning, and the way that they expected the afterlife to be is not what they expected, right? That's just one example of why they can be pissed off, right? There's so many other things. And when you come across an angry spirit, it does start to fit that description of demonic, of evil, of bad, right? But it's not. I've sat down and talked with many of them, right? And some of them have said some pretty awful things to me, but I get their story. I allow them to soften. And once they've told their story, I can see, usually I take this backdoor approach, and I can see, basically have a therapy session with them and help them resolve their unresolved pain. And once that pain dissipates, they're no different than you and I. They are exactly like you and I. I see their light. They are there. They are these amazing, wonderful, beautiful light beings. And once they shed that darkness, they move on. So you have nothing to be afraid of, even if you come across one. They can't harm you. Possession is fake. Okay, that's something that only exists in Hollywood, or if you believe in the Catholic religion. Okay, and they can't harm you. They can't physically grab you. They're energy, and I've had spirits come up and I've watched them go through my hand, try and grab my arm, just like reaching out to me and go right through my hand. I felt it. I felt their energy go through my hand, and I felt their intention like it was an embrace or a grab. But their energy went right through me. They cannot hurt you. You have a physical body. You have way more power than any other spirit that's here trying to interact in the third dimension. They are just energy, and because of that, you have way more power over them because you have a body. Hopefully that sets everybody's fears aside, because I do get this come up every now and then. Right? Especially when we get, New Age spirituality come in, because or if somebody's been in the New Age spiritual community, or if somebody's been, has gone through and deconstructing from organized religions, there's all of these stories about this. But where I see most of these beliefs come from is from New Age spirituality. And because there's all these protection rituals, there's all of these things that we need to do, there's these processes that we need to do, there's this stuff that we have to do before we go to connect to the spirit world, or bad things are going to get us. And it's just really nonsense. I've never done any of that. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I've worked with thousands of people. I've, had hundreds of workshops. Never once have I done any kind of protection or let's sage and let's get crystals and let's do this prayer, let's experience this ritual. No, we just go right into it. Nothing ever fucking happens. I meet with my mentorship students every week and nothing ever happens to them. Hope that helps. Yeah, I do see people's auras. Everyone can. Seeing auras is very easy. I felt something go through me at my dad's grave. Yeah, cemeteries is a place where you will feel quite a few things go through you. So here's a good one. So when we die and cross over into the spirit world, don't we lose our fears, doubts, resentment, and other heavy emotions? The answer to that is no, we don't. It just gets absorbed into the larger part of us. You see, you are not just this physical existence. You're not even the energy that resides in your body. You are this omnipresent being. Your energy is everywhere. Okay, so there's this larger part of you that is non-physical, and there's this part of your energy that kind of dipped their toe, right? You dipped your toe into a physical body. All right, and when we die, we pull our toe out of the pool. All right, and so that energy that was in the pool still holds all of the memories, all of the personalities, everything that you experienced in that lifetime. That part of your energy still holds that. It's just when it withdraws and goes back into the non-physical dimension, back into that larger part of you, it kind of gets dispersed, right? And so each life that we're living is shaping who we are on a soul level, okay? And so it's still there. It's still there, and we'll need to work through some of those things in the spirit world, right? Or in the next incarnation, or incarnations, depending. Some of us have some really deep shit that's taken a few lifetimes. I can tell you, I used to be, I'm a certified past life regressionist, and I went through this 4-year professional regressionist training. And through that journey, I was regressed probably close to 30 times. And I can tell you, there's quite a bit of shit that I was working on for many, many lifetimes before I got to where I am today. And I'm sure that there's still a lot of shit that I'm gonna be working on in the future. It's never done. And I don't believe it's ever done. Once it's done, I don't think we need to come back here anymore. Maybe that's when we become spirit guides or whatever. I'm just going to answer some of you guys' questions here. So here's a question. Do auras have colors? I've never seen an aura color. I've only seen the outline of the energy around the person, around the animal. I even see it around trees. Everyone can see auras. It's not something that's mystical. Maybe people are feeling colors. I don't know. I don't believe that the auras are certain colors. I think that that's like a new age construct. I don't think it's actually happening. All right. But if you want to see an aura, it's very easy. You can do it right now. All you have to do is whatever you want to see the aura on is just stare at it super intensely. Okay. Stare at it really, 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 really intensely. All right. And just look at the edges and you'll start to see like these gas fumes. You'll start to see like this energy, like kind of like emanating and coming out. And it's like this line that goes all the way around whatever you're focusing on perfectly. And it's like anywhere between 6 inches to maybe like a foot out, right? And you'll see it, right? I've never seen it over video or, on TV or anything like that, but you can do it in person. Like we used to do, when I was doing my in-person workshops, right? I was doing a lot of speaking engagements and in-person workshops. And one of the things we used to do is have somebody get on stage and stand against a white wall and turn all the lights on. And I would have the audience stare at that person intensely and everybody in the room would see their aura. And so it's really easy to do. Just check it out. What is an orb? Can our loved ones, so that's a good question. I'm getting a call. Can our loved ones come in the form of an orb? Or what even are orbs? What is an orb? My experience with orbs is they're of the elemental kingdom, fairies, nature spirits, things of that such. And I've never really experienced an orb as a loved one or as a spirit guide or as anything other than from that elemental kingdom. And so if you kind of like communicate with them, right? If you feel into it and you connect and you communicate with the orb, you'll find out exactly what it is. All right. Our loved ones tend to come in a much bigger, broader stroke if you're going to see them physically, right? Because that's the thing. With orbs, you're seeing a physical manifestation. Everyone can see the orb, right? If it's a real orb, everyone in the room is going to see it. So that's a physical manifestation, all right? And because the elemental kingdom, the fairies, the nature spirits, all of those are physical. They're physical, but they're also energetic, and they're more energetic than they are physical. And so that's why you see their light so bright, okay? Our loved ones are not physical anymore. They're pure energy. And so if we do see them, if it is a physical manifestation, it's going to be much larger than an orb. All right, guys. So listen. If you want to work with me directly and you want me to help you connect with your loved one in a way that's undeniable, check out my mentorship program. The first step is to apply for it. You can do that. You can book an interview with me. You can do that at the link in my bio. And so go check that out. If it's something that you're serious about, and if it's something that you really want to do and you want to start connecting with your loved ones and doing it on your own, then go book an interview at the link in my bio. But I do got to get going. I do got to run. I really appreciate all the questions. I thank you guys for listening. I'll post this to my YouTube, and if it's not long enough, I'll post it to all of the socials as well. So much love to you all. Until next time.
Your spirit guides want to communicate with you. Would you like to ask them questions and hear their answers? If you want to have more interactions with the spirit world, I can show you how to instantly connect with any spirit anytime. One of my mentorship students contacted their granny in the afterlife and got her secret cookie recipe. And yes, they tasted just like Granny made them herself. My approach is simple. I leave out all the woo-woo stuff and provide practical, hands-on guidance tailored specifically for you. We jump right in and work together until you're fully confident in your spiritual gifts and consistently communicating with the spirit world in a way that is undeniable. If you want to activate your spiritual gifts within a few days of us working together, then click the link and schedule an interview for my mentorship program now.